Hey guys, Ben from BensGameTime here. I've always been fascinated with the idea of lost media and things just getting lost to the sands of time. With the internet, you'd think this sort of thing wouldn't happen anymore, but it still does, making the pieces of lost media kind of like small treasures in a way. And as it turns out, I have one of these lost treasures, World Gone Sour for the Xbox 360. The game was released on December 20th, 2011 for the PC, then in April 2012 for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and was developed by Playbrains and published by Capcom. The game stars the Sour Patch Kid candies of all things to make a game out of, and is a 2D platforming game where you play as, well, a Sour Patch Kid. The game was taken off the Xbox Live Arcade in August 2015, so that begs the question, was the game any good?
Well, here we are at the main menu, and oh god, what a horrible mistake I've just made. This just looks lazy, and I wasn't expecting much to begin with. But, to be fair, the menu and title screen are not what's important, so let's start the game. The story for this game is pretty weak, and is almost as lazy as the menu was. You're a green Sour Patch Kid who is best friends with this red Sour Patch Kid, and what is your goal in life? To be eaten by a human. No joke, that's the main point of the game. Your friend gets separated from you, and that makes him evil, cause he won't get eaten. As for yourself, you arrive at a movie theater, and as you are about to be eaten, you get dropped into the trash, and so the adventure begins.
Now before we get into how this game plays, I want to quickly touch on the humor of this game. A good bit of the jokes rely on fourth wall breaks. And don't get me wrong, I love fourth wall breaking jokes and postmodernism humor, but this game isn't funny. Take a listen.
But what about those candies that never get eaten? The ones that are lost between the cushions of a couch, the seat of a car, or the misfortunate soul simply forgotten at the bottom of the bag. They go stark raving mad, that's what. Anyway, so don't be surprised if your friend turns all evil and you run into him later as a boss or something. Unfortunately, he suffered from vertigo, which of course changed everything. And so begins this video game.
The delivery is just so bland and boring that it makes the jokes not funny. It'd be like if I suddenly acknowledged that this was a YouTube video and asked you to check out my videos by clicking over here, or over here if YouTube decides to change the layout again. Alright, let's move on.
The controls for this game are pretty basic. You have your double jump and ground pound, plus an attack where you throw a Sour Patch Kid at an enemy. The main gimmick for this game is building up a Sour Patch Kid army, and this leads to some interesting game mechanics. You can use your other Sour Patch Kids as a throwable weapon not just for killing enemies, but for collecting items and for solving puzzles? You also have the ability to grow and shrink in size, which gives you more hits before death, a better jump, and the ability to reach certain areas.
The growth and shrink mechanic is the best and most original part of the game, but it doesn't help with the other parts that much. The double jump is a little floaty, but it isn't uncontrollable. The game also rewards killing off your Sour Patch Kids with extra points at the end of the level, but besides that it's pretty useless.
There are two basic sets of items to collect, stars and gumdrops. The stars are only used for points, which don't affect anything except leaderboard standings, if that's your thing. Gumdrops, on the other hand, give you extra lives, and wow does this game give you way too many lives. This was after the first level, and I started with 5, but look, 22 lives. 22 lives.
That's the biggest problem with this game. It's too easy. So much so that it makes the game boring. And this isn't just because of the overabundance of lives. Enemies can be very easily avoided, making the only real obstacle in the game the level hazards.
Speaking of the levels, the level design in this game is very simplistic. Secrets aren't well hidden, and very rarely are there alternative paths through the levels. Each level also contains 5 golden statues to collect, but most are just lying out in the open and aren't a challenge to get. However, I must admit that even though the level design gameplay-wise is weak, the visual design is creative, and plays off the size of the Sour Patch Kids well. Personal favorite of mine are the movie theater levels, where you platform on deep fryers and other food. This game is really short. There are 9 levels divided into 3 worlds, and each world has a boss fight, plus the final boss. These boss fights are not difficult, just hit the boss 3 times to win. That, and the game gives you a max Sour Patch Kid army before each boss fight, making getting damaged a complete joke.
After everything was said and done, this game only took me 2 hours to beat, making this one of the shortest games I've ever played. And after you beat the game, you're treated to this rap song that's whiter than I am.
The Bubba Berry, Bubba Berry, welcome to the valley.
If I were to describe this game in 3 words, there would be boring, generic, and lazy. At no point did I have fun while playing this game, and nothing ever stood out to me as being done exceptionally well or overly original. There is a post-credits rap video by Method Man that was released before the game came out, but it doesn't help to improve this game. If anything, it just goes to show that at its core, this game was made to sell more Sour Patch Kids. Marketing in video games is nothing new, but this is the most blatant example I've ever seen. There is no entertainment value in this game, and it is for the best that it was taken off the marketplace. That's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.